of course, the UFC Vegas 21 preview. And the first fight that we have on here is a middleweight matchup between Eryk Anders, who is 13-5 and is the plus 155 underdog, versus Darren Stewart, who's 12-6 and is the minus 180 favorite. How do you feel about this fight?
Yeah, this is a great matchup in the middleweight division. Both of these guys have knockout power with a combined 15 knockout wins between them. Anders has lost his last two, which in history has shown is not good for job security. And he's looking to bounce back and establish his name amongst contenders, where Stewart is also coming off of a loss to Kevin Holland and is also looking to bounce back. These guys match up so well, and I'm expecting this fight to be explosive. And this is my fight of the night, honestly, because this is the perfect matchup. They complement each other very well. Both of them are brawlers. Both of them like to keep the fight standing, which is fantastic. A lot of head hunting. Eryk Anders is a big head hunter, where Stewart throws more leg kicks and body shots and implements them a little more into his striking routine. I'd like to see Anders shoot for a takedown a little bit more than usual. I know he's not a big wrestler, but to shoot for more takedowns would be great to kind of wear down Stewart, because if you look at these guys, Eryk Anders is going to come in bigger on fight day. He's going to make his weight, but he's always going to come in a little heavier afterwards. So I'd like to see him wear down Stewart and make it easier for the knockout. But I'm going to go with Anders in this one. I know he's the underdog, but I think this is going to be a turning point in his career where he can kind of get back on track.
Yeah, we got Eryk Anders. He's fighting out of Spartan Fitness. And then you got Darren Stewart. He's fighting out of the MMA Clinic. First off, we got Eryk Anders. His fighting resume shows that he has 8 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, and 4 by decision, which is a pretty nice resume right there. He also has 7 first-round finishes with 1 by submission and then 6 by knockout. So the normal way he gets wins is by knockout.
Yeah.
He puts on quite a bit of strikes, but takes on more than he dishes out. A good thing with him is his takedown defense is 80%. So most of the time he defends the takedown pretty well. And his striking defense is at 50%. So he has work to do with his striking defense, but at least with his takedown, which is good for this fight, that's top notch. Like, if it's not going to be perfect, 80% is like the next best thing. Whereas you got Darren Stewart, who his resume is 7 wins by knockout, 1 by submission, and 4 by decision. It's like almost just about the same thing as Anders. He also has 5 first round finishes with 1 by submission and 4 by knockout. Darren lands 1.5 more strikes a fight than he does absorbing, so he puts in more work than he takes on in return. So, which is good. You want to keep that ratio usually to 2-to-1, so you're not taking as much damage. And the one key thing with him is he averages 2 takedowns a night. It could improve his defense and striking defense, which needs to be improved. But with everything else, like, he's pretty solid. I see this going a little differently. Like, people are going to go with the Anders over Stewart, but I get the edge to Stewart just for the fact that the takedowns. I feel like he's going to get the takedowns early and often, and I feel like in this fight it's going to be deceptive. I feel like he's going to get that started, but the way I have this is I have Darren Stewart by 2nd round knockout. I feel like he's going to tire out Anders. Even with Anders' defense, Anders takes on more than he puts out, whereas Stewart, he puts out more than he takes on. So I feel like he's going to be more fresh because he's not getting hit as much as Anders is getting hit. Like, Anders is the more more precise striker, but when you're taking on more than you're hitting, that at times that's going to affect you in fights.
Yeah, absolutely.
The name of the game is get your opponent. If you're hitting your opponent more than he's hitting you, the chances are you're going to be able to win the fight. And then that's how I see this. I see Darren Stewart going in, have his way, get a few takedowns, and then finish him in the 2nd round.
Okay.
And then that's how I fear about this.
Yeah, I mean, even though both of their records are kind of identical, Stewart has more experience in MMA, where Anders he was a football guy. He was University of
Yeah,
Alabama for a while and then got into it later. So he's still kind of learning. And it's amazing. He's racked up those 13 wins. I'm not mad at your choice. I mean, Stewart is a powerhouse. He's great. He got a split decision against Kevin Holland. A lot of people think that he actually won that fight. And Kevin Holland was on a tear in 2020. So I wouldn't be mad if Stewart won. I just don't want to see anyone get fired if they
yeah,
lose 3 in a row. So I'm going for the underdog
yeah.
on that one.
And Darren Stewart even said that he like that eats up at him that he got the loss
Yeah.
to Holland, and that's part of me is why I'm going with him. I feel like he's going to come out with extra aggression,
Yeah.
knowing that he had that loss in September, and then he wants to fight back at it because he feel like he should have won there.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, if he would have won that fight, we're not talking about him to start a fight night. We're talking
Yeah.
about him finishing a fight night with Brunson next week instead of Holland.